Okay, before we even start, I need to confess something.
Already?
Already. Last week, a tourist stopped me on the street. Super friendly, just, hey, excuse me, do you know where the nearest coffee shop is? And I, a person who has lived in this city for 6 years, completely blanked.
You blanked?
I blanked. I said, and I'm not proud of this, I said, maybe that way.
That way, like you were pointing at the sun.
And then I walked away very quickly so I didn't have to watch what happened.
That is so embarrassing.
I know. But here's the thing. It wasn't that I didn't know where a coffee shop was. It's that something about the question just short-circuited me. Like I couldn't pull it together in the moment.
That's actually exactly what today's episode is about.
Which is why I'm bringing it up. Welcome back to the Jenny and James podcast. I'm Jenny.
And I'm James. And if you're new here, welcome. We're really glad you found us. We don't do drills, we don't do grammar exercises. We just talk. Real conversations, real situations.
And today, specifically, we're talking about the kind of English that happens when you least expect it. Not in a classroom, not in a job interview, just real life. Someone asks you something, you have to answer. No prep time.
Which, as I just demonstrated, even native speakers can mess up.
You really can.
Don't let that discourage you.
I was actually thinking about this the other day. There's this thing that happens with language, any language, where you can be totally fluent in the planned version and completely fall apart in the unplanned version.
Yes, exactly. Like, you can prepare for a job interview in English for weeks. You've got your answers, your vocabulary, your confident face.
Your confident face.
It's a whole look. But then someone just walks up to you, casual, no script, and suddenly everything you know disappears.
And the thing is, that's not a language problem. That's a human problem. That's just how our brains work under mild, unexpected pressure.
Which is honestly kind of reassuring. Like, if even I blanked when someone asked me about coffee and I speak English, then it means it's not about how much you know.
It's about being comfortable in the moment.
Right, which is a different skill, and it's learnable.
I've been thinking about this lately, actually. I think the conversations people find hardest are the ones with no clear beginning and no clear end. You know what I mean? Like someone asks you for a restaurant recommendation. That's manageable. But then it turns into them asking about the neighborhood, and then you're talking about whether it's safe at night, and then somehow you're talking about your own life and where you grew up.
It escalates.
So fast, and you have to be able to ride that wave. And today, we have conversations that do exactly that.
3 of them, and they all start in one place and end up somewhere completely different.
In a good way.
In a great way.
But first, we got a message. And this one is so good. This is from Aisha. She's from Surabaya, Indonesia. And Aisha writes, "Hi, Jenny and James. I've been listening for about 4 months now, and I feel like you're actual friends at this point, which is a little embarrassing to admit, but I'm admitting it anyway. My question is about something that happened last month. A group of tourists stopped me near my neighborhood and asked me to recommend a place to eat. I knew the restaurants, I go to them all the time, but all I could say was, the food there is good. And they smiled politely, and I could tell they were hoping for more. I wanted to say something interesting, but I just didn't have the words. Is there a way to sound more helpful without sounding like a tour guide?" Aisha, first of all, you are not embarrassing. We are the embarrassing ones.
Deeply. We are deeply embarrassing people.
And second of all, this is such a relatable situation. Because the problem isn't that you didn't know the information. The problem is having the right kind of language ready to describe it.
There's a big gap between knowing a place is good and being able to explain why it's good in a way that makes someone want to go.
And that's exactly what we're going to dig into today. So, Aisha, this episode is basically for you.
And for me, and my terrible pointing at the sun incident.
We're all Aisha sometimes. Okay, so let's set up today before we get into the conversations. We've got three scenes. First one, someone gets a restaurant recommendation from a local, but it goes way beyond the restaurant.
Second one, two coworkers talking about food before a trip. It's very much about vocabulary, descriptions, all of that.
And the third one, this is the one I'm most excited about, is pure small talk. No task, no destination, just two people talking on the last day of a trip.
Which sounds simple, but is actually the hardest.
The hardest, because there's no goal. You're just present in a conversation that could go anywhere.
I think that's where a lot of people, even advanced learners, still feel a little lost. The functional stuff, ordering food, giving directions, that's learnable. But small talk, the back and forth, the reading of vibes, the knowing when to ask a follow-up question,
That's an art.
it really is. And I think the reason is that in small talk, you're not just communicating information. You're building a tiny relationship, even if it's only for 5 minutes.
I've been on both sides of that. Bad small talk feels like a job interview. Good small talk feels like you've known the person for years.
And you can tell the difference immediately.
Immediately, like within the first 30 seconds.
So, let's hear how it's done. Our first conversation. Do you want to tease it?
Okay, so our first conversation, it starts with a question about lunch. Very normal, very low stakes. But here's the thing, it doesn't stay about lunch. And by the end of it, these two people aren't talking about food at all. They're talking about something that I think a lot of people secretly wonder about. You're being very mysterious.
I'm building suspense. It's a skill.
Okay, let's listen.
Hey, sorry, I know you're working. Do you happen to know anywhere good to eat around here? I just got in this morning and I have no idea where anything is.
Oh, no worries at all. Yeah, there are actually a few decent options. It kind of depends. Are you thinking something quick, or do you have a little time?
I've got maybe half an hour. Nothing fancy, just real food, not a gas station sandwich.
Okay, good bar to clear. So if you go out the front door and turn left, there's this place about 2 blocks down. It's called something like Casa something. I always forget the name, but you'll know it because there are always 3 or 4 people standing outside waiting. That's the sign.
Oh, the line is the sign?
Exactly. They do a daily lunch menu. You get soup, a main, and a drink for a fixed price. Super local. It's not a menu you order from. It's more like whatever they made today is what you're getting.
I love that. That's kind of my whole philosophy, honestly. Just eat whatever people are actually eating.
That's genuinely the best way. You'll probably end up with something you've never had before.
Is it pretty easy to figure out even without Spanish? I have maybe 3 words.
Honestly, they're used to it. Just point, smile, nod enthusiastically when they say something. You'll be fine. Nobody's going to be rude about it.
Good to know. I was a little nervous about that, actually. At my last stop, I was in Lisbon. I accidentally ordered 3 portions of the same thing because I kept nodding.
3 portions?
3. I ate all of it because I didn't want to seem difficult.
That's dedication.
I was committed to the bit. So what's the neighborhood like? Is it pretty walkable?
Really walkable, yeah. This whole area is pretty good during the day. There is a park nearby, a street market on weekends, lots of little cafes. It's got this kind of relaxed energy. At night, I'd stick to the main streets, mostly just because some of the side streets are a bit sketchy if you don't know them. Nothing serious, just common sense stuff.
Got it. I appreciate you actually saying that, by the way. Some people get weirdly cagey about it, like they're worried about scaring you.
I mean, it's just useful information. Better to know than to end up somewhere uncomfortable.
Exactly. So what brought you to this specific co-working space? You seem like a regular.
I live like 4 blocks away. I just come here to feel like I'm leaving the house. It tricks my brain into thinking I have a commute.
Oh my God, I do the exact same thing. I cannot work for my accommodation. Something about the bed being 5 feet away completely destroys my focus.
The bed knows. The bed is always watching.
Exactly. Are you doing the slow travel thing too, or are you actually based here?
I'm actually based here now, yeah. I've been here about 2 years, but I was doing something similar to you before I ended up here, just moving city to city, staying a few weeks at a time, figuring out what stuck.
And this one stuck.
This one stuck. I didn't even plan it, I just kept pushing back my flight.
That's the best way to end up somewhere. Not a plan, just a series of delays.
That's basically my life philosophy, and also slightly terrifying when I say it out loud.
I think that's the most honest version of how anyone ends up anywhere good.
You know what? You might be right. Anyway, lunch. Go left, look for the line, point and smile.
Point and smile. Got it. Thank you. Seriously.
Of course. Oh, and one more thing. 1 block past the lunch place, there's a coffee shop on the corner. Small, independent. If you're into coffee at all, it's worth it.
I am deeply into coffee.
Then you'll have a very good afternoon.
Okay, I loved that conversation so much.
Same. And it went somewhere completely different from where it started.
It started as a lunch recommendation and ended with 2 people accidentally talking about how they've made life decisions.
A series of delays. That got me.
It's so true, though, and it's a great example of how small talk isn't actually small. Like what Marcus said at the end, I just kept pushing back my flight. That's a whole life philosophy in one sentence.
But let's talk about the language first, because there's a lot of good stuff in there, starting with how Marcus gave the recommendation.
Yes, he didn't just say there's a restaurant 2 blocks away. He gave her a landmark. You'll know it because there are always people standing outside waiting.
That's such a specific, helpful detail. It's not just information, it's a mental image. You can picture it.
And that's the difference between an okay recommendation and a great one. An okay one gives you facts. A great one gives you enough to actually find the place and feel confident when you get there.
We also got a really useful phrase, that's the sign, as in the line is the sign. You can use that structure whenever you're explaining how to identify something. You'll know it because, or that's always a good sign.
And then Nadia's 3 portions of food story?
Perfect, absolutely perfect.
Because what did that do to the conversation?
It immediately made Marcus trust her. Like she was vulnerable, she laughed at herself, and it completely changed the vibe from a transaction to a connection.
That is the secret of good small talk, honestly. Being a little self-deprecating in a light, funny way. It opens people up.
This reminds me of something. Okay, this is embarrassing, but relevant.
Those are your favorite kind of stories.
My favorite. So a few years ago, I was in this hotel, wrong hotel actually, long story, I'll tell it properly someday, and I was trying to find the breakfast area, and I walked confidently into what I was absolutely certain was a dining room. It was a wedding.
No.
In progress, like they were mid-vow.
James.
I stood there for a full 3 seconds before I realized, and then I backed out very slowly, which somehow made it worse, and everyone saw me. The couple definitely saw me.
What did you do?
I found a corner of the lobby and had what I would describe as a quiet internal crisis, and then I found the actual breakfast room, which was 2 floors up.
The wedding couple probably still talks about that.
I hope it's a good story for them. I really do. Anyway, the point is, if I had told that story at the time to whoever I was sitting next to at breakfast, it would have been an instant connection.
Because vulnerability and humor are just so disarming.
And Nadia did exactly that with her 3-portion story. She didn't wait for the conversation to warm up. She just jumped in.
Which is a skill, a learnable one. Okay, I want to say something slightly controversial.
Oh no.
Not that controversial.
You always say that, and then it's extremely controversial.
I think people focus too much on vocabulary when it comes to sounding natural in English.
Okay, that is a little controversial.
Hear me out. Vocabulary is important, obviously, but I think the thing that actually makes someone sound fluent, like genuinely comfortable, is rhythm. It's the rate, the hesitations, the fillers, the way you pause before an answer.
I see what you're saying, but I'd push back slightly.
Push back. I welcome it.
I think vocabulary is still the foundation, because you can have perfect rhythm, but if you're searching for the word sketchy and it just isn't there.
But sketchy is one word. You can describe the concept without the exact word. A bit unsafe. Feels off. I wouldn't walk there alone. That's actually more natural sometimes than just dropping in the perfect term.
That's fair. But there's also something that happens when someone uses exactly the right word at the right moment. It's like a click, and the click creates trust. The listener feels like this person really gets it.
Okay, I'll grant you that. The click is real.
The click is extremely real.
So maybe it's both. Rhythm makes you comfortable, vocabulary creates moments of connection.
I can live with that.
And rhythm is honestly easier to practice than people think. It's just about listening to how real conversations flow, which conveniently is literally what this podcast is.
We are very useful.
We're occasionally useful.
All right, second conversation. This one is about food, but I want to warn you, if you're hungry right now, this is going to be a problem.
This is genuinely the most descriptive food conversation we've ever included.
It's very detailed, in a good way, and the vocabulary in here is really worth paying attention to. Not just the names of dishes, but the adjectives. Because describing food is one of those things that sounds easy, but is actually kind of hard.
Everything wants to default to, it's really good or it's delicious. And that's fine, but there's a version of that conversation that's so much more interesting. And that's what you're about to hear.
Let's go.
Okay, May, I need your brain. I leave in 2 weeks and I've done 0 research on food.
0? Grace.
I know. I've been busy. Just tell me what to eat. What are the essential things?
Okay. So it depends on where exactly you're going, but there are some things that are just non-negotiable across the board. First, and I'm serious about this, you have to try pho.
The soup?
The soup. But calling it the soup is like calling a painting the colors. It's a beef broth that's been simmering for hours, sometimes overnight. It's incredibly fragrant. You get this hit of star anise and cinnamon when the bowl arrives, before you even taste anything.
That sounds amazing already.
And then you have these thin rice noodles, slices of beef, and on the side you get a whole plate of fresh herbs, basil, bean sprouts, lime. You build the bowl yourself at the table.
I love that. Interactive food.
Interactive food is the best food. Now, the second one is banh mi. It's a sandwich, but saying it's a sandwich is kind of like saying the Eiffel Tower is a tower. Technically true, deeply misleading.
Okay, explain.
So you've got this incredibly light, crispy baguette. It's a legacy from French colonialism, actually, but it's been completely transformed. And you fill it with things like Vietnamese cold cuts, pickled daikon and carrot, fresh cilantro, jalapeno, a smear of pâté. Wait, pâté? It sounds weird. It works. Trust me, the combination of crunchy, tangy, rich, fresh, spicy all in one bite is just extraordinary. And it's street food. You eat it on the sidewalk. That's the correct way.
I am absolutely eating it on the sidewalk.
Good. Now, third thing, and this is where I have to warn you a little.
Uh-oh.
It's not bad, it's just fresh spring rolls, goi kwan. They look really simple, just rice paper, shrimp, herbs, rice noodles, but the dipping sauce is this peanut hoisin thing that is somehow the most addictive thing on earth.
Why is that a warning?
Because you will eat about 15 of them and then you won't be hungry for anything else and you'll miss dinner.
Okay, that's a real warning.
Lessons learned. Now, street food in general. Is it safe?
That's literally my next question. How did you know?
Because everyone asks. And the answer is mostly yes, with a little judgment. The main thing is look for busy stalls. Locals lining up is the best quality indicator you will ever have. They know what's worth waiting for.
That makes sense.
And stick to stuff that's cooked fresh in front of you. Hot off the grill, hot out of the wok, that kind of thing. Avoid anything that looks like it's been sitting in the sun for a while.
Okay, common sense. What about things I should be more cautious about?
Raw shellfish, I'd be careful. And there are some fermented things like mom, which is an acquired taste, to put it very generously.
Acquired taste,
Meaning it smells like something went wrong, but it tastes incredible, and you either fall in love with it or you run away, and you're not entirely sure which will happen until it's too late.
I love that description. That's the most honest review of a food I've ever heard.
I'm only giving you the truth. Oh, and desserts, you have to have che. What's that? It's kind of a sweet soup or a sweet drink. It's hard to describe because it can be so many things. Coconut milk base, sometimes with mung beans or tapioca pearls or fresh fruit, served over shaved ice in the heat of the afternoon. It sounds strange, but it's so refreshing you'll think about it for years.
I'm gonna think about this conversation for years.
Wait until you have the real thing.
Okay, one more question. How do I ask for less spice without being annoying about it?
Just say it. Be direct but friendly. Can I have this not too spicy? People are used to it. Nobody's going to judge you. And honestly, once you've adjusted to the base level of heat, give it a couple of days. You'll probably start wanting more.
You think so?
I've watched it happen every single time. People go in thinking they can't handle it, and by day 4, they're pouring chili sauce on everything and asking why food back home is so boring.
That's going to be me, isn't it?
That is absolutely going to be you.
Okay, food adjectives. That conversation was packed.
Fragrant, tangy, crispy, rich, addictive. Those are just the ones in the first few minutes.
And here's the thing I want to highlight. May never just said, "It's delicious." She described what you experience when you eat it. The sensation, the texture, the smell, the combination.
And that structure is so useful. Instead of, it's good, you say what it does to you. It's the kind of thing you think about for years. You'll be pouring chili sauce on everything by day 4.
Those are predictions almost, and they're way more convincing than a simple compliment. May also used 2 phrases that are really worth keeping. One is non-negotiable, as in, this is not optional, you have to do this.
Very strong, very confident. It signals that you really know what you're talking about.
And the other one is acquired taste, which is such an elegant way of describing something that is unusual or intense. It doesn't insult the food, it just explains that it takes some warming up to.
I use acquired taste for so many things. Black coffee, jazz, any movie without a plot.
Also, I want to go back to something May said about street food. Locals lining up is the best quality indicator you will ever have.
That's just true.
It's true everywhere. Any city, any country. If there's a line of local people, that's the whole review. You don't need anything else.
And actually, this connects to Aisha's message from earlier, because what Aisha was struggling with was exactly this, having specific, memorable things to say, not just, it's good.
And May shows us how. You paint a picture. You tell someone what they'll experience, not just what the place is.
This next conversation has 0 food in it, which after that is actually a relief.
Let's not go straight into it, though. I want to say something about what happened at the end of that conversation.
The that's gonna be me moment?
Yes, because Grace went from asking for information to accepting something about herself. That's gonna be me, isn't it? There's a vulnerability in that. She's admitting she's going to change.
And May didn't make it a big deal. She just said, that is absolutely gonna be you. No lecture, no explanation, just affirmation.
And that's such a good instinct in real conversation. When someone admits something, even something small and funny, you don't pile on it. You just receive it.
Note taken, honestly. Before we get to the final conversation, I need to update you on something.
Oh no.
So, remember the tourist I pointed in a vague direction?
The sun pointing incident.
I was at the same coffee shop this morning, and I'm not certain, but I think it was the same tourist. And this time, she asked me for directions again.
Stop.
Different question. She asked if there was a pharmacy nearby.
And?
I gave her a full, confident, detailed answer. I said, yes, go out the door, turn right, cross at the lights, and it's right on the corner. You can't miss it.
That's great.
She said thank you, walked out, turned left. I watched her go the wrong direction, and I just let it happen.
You didn't say anything?
I was so proud of myself for the directions that I didn't process that she turned the wrong way until it was too late.
This is a character arc that is going in the wrong direction.
Growth takes time.
Okay, last conversation. And this is the one I want you to pay the most attention to. Not for vocabulary, not for phrases, but for the rhythm of it.
This is pure small talk. No task. The trip is basically over, and two people are just talking on a bench, at a bus stop, somewhere in between.
And what I think is so special about this one is what gets said about the things that went wrong.
Not the things that were perfect, the things that didn't go according to plan.
Because here's something I really believe, and I've been thinking about this lately. The conversations we remember aren't usually the ones where everything was smooth. They're the ones where something unexpectedly human happened.
This conversation ends somewhere neither of them expected when they started talking. Let's listen.
Last day, right?
Last day, flights in 4 hours.
How was it? The whole trip?
Honestly, better than I thought it would be. And I say that as someone who almost didn't come.
Really? What almost stopped you?
I'd been kind of in a rut. You know that feeling where every plan you make feels like effort, like you have to convince yourself to do anything.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
I'd had this trip booked for 6 months, and I genuinely came close to canceling it like 3 days before. Just made up some excuse in my head about timing not being right.
What made you not cancel?
I think I just got tired of my own excuses. I was like, if not now, when? And that's not even a phrase I usually like. It feels a bit self-help poster, but sometimes the cliche is true.
Sometimes it is. So you got on the plane.
I got on the plane, and the first 2 days were rough, honestly. I was tired, everything was unfamiliar, I felt kind of stupid all the time.
Stupid how?
Like, not knowing how anything worked, not knowing the system, the etiquette, the small, unwritten rules. I walked into a restaurant and stood there for 2 minutes not knowing if I should seat myself or wait. Tiny thing, but it kept happening.
That's such a specific feeling. Being competent in your normal life and then suddenly not knowing how doors work.
Yes, exactly. It's like being a confident adult and then suddenly you're a confused child and someone's looking at you like, "Sir, you just walked into a broom closet."
Has that happened to you?
Not this trip. Other trips. There's a hotel in... Actually, never mind. Different story.
You have to tell me now.
Another time, I promise. So, day 3, something shifted. I don't know if it was just getting over the hump or if a specific thing happened. Maybe it was the market.
The Sunday market?
Yeah, I went alone. I didn't have a list, no plan, just wandered. Bought something I couldn't identify, ate it, loved it, talked to this older woman selling ceramics for like 40 minutes with basically no shared language. Mostly gestures and her laughing at my facial expressions.
That's the best kind of conversation.
It was. And by the end, I'd bought 3 things I didn't need, and I felt genuinely happy. Not performed happy, actually happy.
Do you think it's the trip that did that, or was it going to happen anyway?
That's a good question. I think I needed the distance, like the literal physical distance from my regular life. It's hard to have a new thought in a place where everything is already familiar.
I think about this sometimes. I've lived here my whole life, and I wonder what I'm missing because everything is just normal to me. The things you find interesting or surprising, I just pass by every day without seeing them.
But you must see things I don't. You know the layer underneath, the version of this place that isn't for visitors.
True. I know the bad roads and the good mechanic, and which cafe puts too much sugar in everything.
See, that's a whole map that I don't have access to.
And you have the map of first impressions, which is actually really valuable. First impressions are honest. They fade fast.
That's a really interesting way to put it.
I had a friend visit from Portugal last year. She had never been here before, and the things she noticed, the things she kept pointing out and photographing, I hadn't even looked at in years. Stuff I just walked past.
Did it make you see the city differently?
For about a week, and then it faded again, which is a little sad, honestly.
Maybe you need to travel more.
Maybe you need to stay somewhere longer.
Fair enough.
Did anything go wrong? Anything you weren't prepared for?
Oh, yeah. Third day, my phone died while I was completely lost. Like, fully lost. No idea which direction anything was.
What did you do?
Wandered for a bit with increasing anxiety, and then I just stopped. Went into a bakery because it smelled incredible, bought something, sat down, and let myself just be lost for a minute. And then I asked the guy behind the counter for help.
Did he speak English?
Not really, but he drew me a map on a napkin. This incredibly detailed napkin map with little labels I couldn't read, but I got the general idea.
Did you find your way back?
Eventually, with 3 wrong turns. But honestly, that hour of being lost is probably the thing I'll remember longest.
The things that go wrong are the ones that stay.
Exactly. Because when everything goes smoothly, it doesn't ask anything of you. But when something breaks down, you have to actually engage. You have to actually be there.
I think that's why I like talking to travelers. You remind me that things don't have to go according to plan to be good.
I'm going to think about that on the flight.
Think about coming back, too.
I was already thinking about that.
Good.
Thank you for, this whole conversation. It went somewhere I didn't expect.
The best ones always do.
Okay, I don't want to say too much right away. I just want to sit with that for a second.
Yeah.
There's a line Sophia says, "First impressions are honest, they fade fast." And I've been thinking about that ever since I read the script.
It's such a true thing. And it's not just about travel, it's about any new experience. You notice everything at first, and then familiarity kind of puts a layer over things and you stop seeing them.
Which is maybe why meeting someone new, even briefly, even just for a conversation on a bench, can shake that layer loose a little.
Daniel said something that I keep coming back to too. It's hard to have a new thought in a place where everything is already familiar.
I've felt that. And I think a lot of people listening right now have felt that. The idea of needing to step outside your normal world, not because something is wrong with your life, but just because you need some friction.
You need something to push against to figure out what you actually think.
Exactly.
And this conversation, from a language standpoint, is a masterclass in asking good questions. Look at how both of them kept the conversation going, not by talking more, but by asking one more question.
What made you not cancel? Stupid how? Did anything go wrong?
Every time the conversation could have ended, someone pulled on one more thread.
And that's the whole skill of small talk, honestly. You're just looking for the next thread. I want to do something a little different for a second, because today's conversations have all had this thing in common. They start somewhere practical and end somewhere personal. And I think that's actually how most real conversations work, when they're good ones.
The best conversations surprise you.
Right. And I think the thing that makes that possible, the thing that allows a lunch recommendation to become a conversation about life decisions, or a food conversation to end with, "That's going to be me, isn't it?" is that someone at some point says something honest.
One real thing.
One real thing. Nadia saying she accidentally ordered 3 portions. Daniel admitting he almost canceled the trip. Sophia saying she doesn't see her own city anymore.
None of those are big admissions. None of them are vulnerable in a dramatic way.
But they're all true and real, and that's what makes the other person lean in.
I think this is what Aisha was actually asking about in her message. Not just the vocabulary, though that matters, but how to make the conversation feel like more than information exchange.
And the answer is, be a little honest. Say the thing you actually think. Not everything, just one real thing.
One true sentence can change the temperature of a whole conversation.
I've been thinking about this lately, and this is very much my own experience, but I used to think being good at conversation meant being interesting, saying smart things, knowing a lot.
And
And it's not that. Being good at conversation means being curious about the other person. It means listening for the thing they said that surprised you and asking about it.
What almost stopped you?
Exactly. That's the whole game. Aisha, this is us finishing the answer to your question. You wanted to know how to sound more helpful without sounding like a tour guide, and I think today showed us. The difference between a tour guide and a friend is that a tour guide gives you information and a friend gives you their experience.
A tour guide says this restaurant is rated highly and has good reviews. A friend says there's this place with no sign and the tables are tiny and the guy who runs it has been there for 30 years and the soup is the best thing you'll ever eat. And I take everyone I care about there.
Same information, completely different feeling.
So the vocabulary helps, the adjectives help, but the real thing is adding even one detail that shows you've actually been there, that you have a relationship with this place.
Even something small. They're used to it, just point and smile.
That one detail tells the person, I've been there, I've watched this, I know how this works.
And that's what makes a recommendation feel safe.
Aisha, you already have the knowledge. You've been to those restaurants. You eat there all the time. So you know the details. You just have to let yourself say them.
Give people your experience, not just the facts.
Okay, we should wrap up. But I don't want to do the summary thing, because honestly, I don't think today was really about phrases or vocabulary.
No?
I mean, those things are in there. Sketchy, acquired taste, heads up, barely scratched the surface, all useful, all worth keeping.
Worth keeping.
But I think the bigger thing today was about what conversations can become when you let them, when you ask one more question, when you say one real thing.
That's what English, any language really, is actually for. Not grammar, not vocabulary lists, but the moment when two people, who might not even share a country or language or context, end up talking about something real on a bench before someone gets on a plane.
And they both go away a little changed.
Yeah.
If you made it to the end of this episode, genuinely, thank you. We know it was a long one.
We hope it felt less like studying and more like you were just in the room.
And if something stuck with you, maybe first impressions are honest, they fade fast. Or maybe just the napkin map story, which I'm still thinking about.
Keep it. That's yours.
We'll be back next time with more conversations that go somewhere unexpected.
Take care of yourselves.
And if anyone asks you for a recommendation, you've got this.
Even if you accidentally point at the sun.
Especially then. See you next time.